town lately, especially after assassination attempts and a heated presidential race. From Secret Service details costing millions to the loyal Keith Schiller, Trump's former bodyguard, every layer of his security team is designed to keep him well protected. But there's a lot that remains behind the scenes. New requests for military-grade support, sky-high costs, and perhaps the most extensive security setup ever for a president. So let's dive in and see what it truly takes to protect one of the most talked-about leaders on the global stage. How much it costs to protect Trump. As one of the most recognizable figures in recent American history, President Donald Trump continued to receive extensive Secret Service protection post-presidency, which was a costly endeavor that has drawn both scrutiny and curiosity due to its high expense and unique demands. Under federal law, former presidents, their spouses, and minor children under age 16 are entitled to Secret Service protection for life. This provision is rooted in the Former Presidents Act, a 1958 law designed to maintain the dignity of the presidency. It provides protection and certain benefits to all former presidents, aiming to ensure their safety and recognition of their public service. In Trump's case, this legally entitles him, his wife Melania, and their youngest son Barron to Secret Service protection. However, Trump made a unique request in the final days of his presidency. He requested that Secret Service protection be extended to his adult children and their spouses for an additional 6 months. Given the Trump family's public prominence and complex security needs, this request added millions to the overall cost, especially due to their frequent travels. This extension covered Trump's adult children, Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump and his wife Lara, and Tiffany Trump. While adult children of presidents do not automatically receive Secret Service coverage, Trump's request was granted, resulting in extended protection and heightened costs. This extended coverage, as reported, placed a hefty burden on taxpayers due to the scale and scope of the protection required. One of the biggest contributors to the Secret Service's costs for Trump's family is travel. The Trump family's high-profile status and international business interests have led them to frequent destinations worldwide, often requiring the Secret Service to accompany them. To illustrate the expenses involved, the U.S. Government Accountability Office reported that Secret Service protection for just a few trips made by Trump's sons, Donald Jr. and Eric, cost about $396,000. These included trips to Uruguay, the Dominican Republic, and the United Arab Emirates. From 2017 to 2019, Trump's family members took over 4,500 trips with Secret Service agents, which translated into significant taxpayer expenses. One notable example is the trip to Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. In 2017 alone, the Secret Service spent roughly $1.3 million for each of Trump's first 4 trips to Mar-a-Lago. That single year saw Trump's travel-related expenses soar to $13.6 million, covering not only the Secret Service but also the Department of Defense and other essential services involved in protecting the president on the move. Another controversial point is that the Trump family's Secret Service details often stayed at Trump-owned properties, such as his hotels in Washington, D.C. and Mar-a-Lago in Florida. This practice generated significant profits for Trump's businesses, as reported by the House Oversight Committee. According to a report published by the committee, Trump hotels routinely charge the Secret Service as much as 300% over the government's per diem rate, the standard daily amount the government is willing to pay for accommodations. For example, when Secret Service agents stayed at Trump's hotel in Washington, they were charged far above government limits and even paid higher rates than other hotel guests, including foreign dignitaries and high-profile guests. Eric Trump previously stated that the Trump Organization allowed Secret Service agents to stay at their properties free of charge, but the House committee's findings contradicted this claim. In reality, documents revealed that the organization billed Secret Service far above approved rates, often up to 3 times more than what the government had set aside. The financial impact of these accommodations led to what some have called a significant conflict of interest. The U.S. Constitution's Emoluments Clause states that a president should not receive payments from the federal government beyond a salary. While previous presidents have divested from business interests that could conflict with this clause, Trump chose not to, allowing his businesses to profit from taxpayer dollars through Secret Service payments. Trump's businesses reportedly received approximately $7.8 million from the federal government over his term in office, much of it stemming from Secret Service charges. Despite attempts to hold him accountable under the Emoluments Clause, cases against him were ultimately dismissed by the U.S. Supreme Court in January 2021, ruling them moot due to Trump's exit from office. However, scrutiny surrounding these practices continues. During his time in office, Trump's hotel in Washington became a hub for Republican lawmakers, government officials, and foreign dignitaries, many of whom paid significant amounts to stay there. These guests included high-profile figures such as appointed federal judges, ambassadors, and even individuals who later received presidential pardons. This pattern drew criticism from ethics groups and Democrats in Congress, who argued that Trump's refusal to divest from his businesses posed a conflict between his private financial interests and public office. Interestingly, despite the high revenue generated during Trump's term, the Trump International Hotel in Washington faced financial losses, partly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. While it brought in around $150 million during Trump's presidency, the hotel hotel reportedly ended with net losses of $70 million due to travel restrictions and reduced bookings during the pandemic. Trump eventually sold the lease to the hotel in 2022, after which it reopened under the Waldorf Astoria brand. Since then, the hotel has reportedly seen a sharp decline in visits from Republican groups who were previously key patrons under Trump's ownership. As Trump remains a high-profile figure, especially given his potential political aspirations, the cost of protecting him and his family is expected to continue. Although the extended protection for his adult children officially ended 6 months after he left office, the cost of protecting Trump, Melania, and Barron remains substantial. Based on GAO reports and past expenditures, it is estimated that maintaining a protection detail for Trump could continue to run into millions of dollars each year, especially if he continues to travel frequently and remain active in politics. Trump former bodyguard Keith Schiller. Keith Schiller's story isn't your average security job gone big time. As Donald Trump's longtime bodyguard and close ally, Schiller went from being a New York cop to one of Trump's most trusted associates. The man was more than just muscle. He was a confidant and a gatekeeper who earned his way into Trump's inner circle. However, the real story goes beyond his loyalty and is about how that loyalty translated into a paycheck even after he left Trump's official payroll. Schiller started his career with the NYPD, learning the ropes of dealing with all types of situations on the streets of New York. For over a decade, he honed his skills in managing people and chaos, a skill set that would soon be essential in his next role. In 1999, Schiller joined Trump's security team. Little did he know he was signing up for one of the longest and most unusual security gigs in politics. From escorting unwelcome guests out of events to managing security at high-profile appearances, Schiller became more than just a bodyguard. He was Trump's right-hand man in keeping things orderly, or as orderly as they got in Trump's world. He was known for personally handling incidents, like the time he was allegedly tasked with kicking out Rosie O'Donnell from a charity event at Trump's request. Trump found in Schiller someone who would do the job without question, which helped build strong trust between them. When Trump became president in 2017, Schiller went with him to the White House, where he took on a role as director of Oval Office operations. In simple terms, Schiller managed who could and couldn't get close to Trump in the Oval Office, but it was clear from the start that Schiller was more comfortable in the private sector, handling security rather than dealing with political red tape. Just a few months into the job, Schiller left the White House and returned to private life. Yet his connection with Trump wasn't over. It only took on a new form. Schiller's loyalty continued to be rewarded, though this time it was the Republican National Committee paying the bills. Not long after leaving the White House, Schiller started receiving payments from the RNC. His firm, Kansas Global Group, got $15,000 a month, totaling a whopping $585,500 over more than 3 years. But what exactly was Schiller doing for that money? According to the RNC, he was providing security consulting services for the 2020 Republican National Convention. It's worth noting that $15,000 a month is more than many people earn in an entire year, and Schiller wasn't even working on a day-to-day basis. The RNC claimed his role involved consulting on security at potential convention sites. However, critics and watchdogs questioned the legitimacy of these payments, with some even calling it a slush fund, a pot of money used loosely without strict oversight. Political analysts argued that Schiller's paycheck was more about keeping Trump's loyalists in the loop than any serious security advice. The fact that the payments began right after Schiller left the White House raised eyebrows. The timing made it seem as though the RNC was stepping in to provide Schiller with a steady income now that he was no longer on Trump's official staff. It was a nice deal by the time Trump left office in 2021. Schiller had pocketed well over $500,000 from the RNC alone, and by that time Schiller had bought himself a 4-bedroom home in Palm Beach County, Florida, just a short drive from Trump's Mar-a-Lago. For Schiller, loyalty wasn't just repaid with a handshake and a thank you. Trump's allies have a long history of being financially taken care of, and Schiller's case was no exception. This isn't unusual in Trump's world. Loyalty is one of the few qualities that he values highly, and he's known to reward those who stick with him, even if it means using unconventional methods. Unlike others in Trump's circle who stayed in the public eye, Schiller managed to keep a low profile. He wasn't one for press conferences or interviews, even as he maintained a strong presence behind the scenes. The one notable exception was his testimony in 2017 about the infamous Steele dossier, where he denied allegations that Trump had engaged in questionable behavior during a 2013 trip to Moscow. When asked about reports that a Russian offered to send women up to Trump's hotel room, Schiller's reply was simple: "We don't do that kind of stuff." Some argue that the payments to Schiller were as much about securing loyalty as they were about providing security advice. Having spent nearly 2 decades with Trump, Schiller had likely seen and heard more than most people in Trump's orbit, and with his loyalty being financially rewarded by the RNC, there's little chance he'd break that trust anytime soon. Schiller's story is emblematic of how Trump handles loyalty. He takes care of those who are dedicated to him, often through unconventional means. The payments from the RNC might look questionable, but in Trump's world, it's simply a way of keeping his closest allies close, regardless of whether or not they're actively involved in his day-to-day activities. Schiller's financial relationship with the RNC came to an end in January 2021, but his legacy as Trump's bodyguard and trusted confidant lives on. He remains one of the few people who managed to stay loyal to Trump while keeping a relatively clean public image, which is a rare feat in a political environment known for scandals. How much security does Donald Trump get? Donald Trump's life since leaving the White House has been anything but ordinary, especially when it comes to security. Unlike other former presidents who fade somewhat into the background, Trump remains a high-profile figure with a lifestyle that keeps his security detail on constant alert. Add to this recent assassination attempts and elevated threats, and it becomes clear why the protection around him has been intensified. Generally, former presidents are entitled to Secret Service protection for life, with an estimated 80 agents assigned to each ex-president. But Trump's situation is different. Given recent attempts on his life, Congress has moved to enhance his security detail, adding more agents and resources. This move has reshaped the way the Secret Service operates around Trump, incorporating more technology and specialized teams. To understand Trump's enhanced security setup, it helps to look at the standard procedure. Normally, a former president would have around 80 Secret Service agents assigned to their protection at any time. These agents don't all follow him around every second. Rather, they are part of a network that includes rotating shifts and logistical teams that handle everything from travel arrangements to perimeter control. This shift detail consists of the close protection officers who stay within arm's reach of Trump. Then, depending on the level of threat, other specialized teams come into play, including snipers, counter-assault teams, and counter-surveillance units. In a typical situation, a former president might only require a shift team and basic surveillance, but with Trump, his protection detail has been expanded to resemble the kind of resources usually dedicated to a sitting president. Trump's increased security measures are largely due to a heightened threat landscape. Over the past year, multiple incidents have forced the Secret Service to rethink its approach. For instance, in Pennsylvania this past summer, there was a significant assassination attempt during one of Trump's public appearances. Following this close call, the Department of Homeland Security appointed an independent review panel to examine what went wrong and recommend changes. The panel's main critique focused on the do more with less culture that has left the Secret Service stretched thin. In response to these incidents, the Biden administration requested additional funding to support Trump's enhanced security. Congress quickly passed the Enhanced Presidential Security Act in September 2024, which requires the Secret Service to assess the needs of each former president's protection detail based on the current threat level. This law has directly impacted Trump's security, ensuring he now has access to more advanced technology and personnel resources than any previous ex-president. Following the Pennsylvania incident, the Secret Service expanded its use of technology around Trump's protection. Drones, for example, have become a crucial part of monitoring large areas, especially when Trump is in open or public spaces. These drones are used to detect potential threats from above, providing real-time surveillance and aerial views of the areas surrounding Trump. In addition to drones, the Secret Service has also ramped up its communications systems. Improved coordination between Secret Service agents and local law enforcement has been a priority. The agency is now using more advanced communication tools to ensure that every team member is on the same page, whether Trump is at Mar-a-Lago, Bedminster, or another location. These improvements were necessary given the complex nature of Trump's lifestyle. Unlike other former presidents who often settle into retirement, Trump frequently travels, hosting rallies and making public appearances. Each new location requires the Secret Service to set up security operations from scratch. This involves advanced teams who arrive early to secure the area, assess risks, and coordinate with local law enforcement. It's a high-stakes operation that demands both precision and flexibility. Security for a former president is never cheap, but the cost for Trump's protection is especially high due to his unique needs. The Secret Service's budget for the 2024 fiscal year was around $3.1 billion, an increase of 9% from the previous year. Of this, more than $1 billion was allocated specifically for the protection of persons and facilities, covering the costs of safeguarding high-profile individuals like Trump. To put this budget into perspective, author Ronald Kessler, who has extensively researched the Secret Service, pointed out that the agency's entire budget is roughly equivalent to the cost of a single stealth bomber. This comparison highlights how stretched the Secret Service's resources are. When unexpected expenses arise, like the need to enhance Trump's security, it can strain the agency's finances. The recent legislation that enhanced Trump's protection included additional funding for the Secret Service, but even this may not fully cover the growing expenses. The agency has been forced to allocate more resources to Trump's security detail, diverting personnel and funding that would typically go toward other operations. This shift has raised concerns among lawmakers and former agents alike, with some questioning whether the agency will be able to keep up with the demands. The Secret Service doesn't work alone when it comes to protecting Trump. While they handle the immediate vicinity around him, local law enforcement plays a crucial role in securing the outer perimeter. For example, when Trump heads to his golf course, the Secret Service controls the area closest to him, but local police manage the outskirts, ensuring no unauthorized individuals approach. This collaboration between federal agents and local law enforcement adds another layer to Trump's security, making it difficult for any potential threats to get close. Former agent Jason Russell explains that while the Secret Service handles close protection, local officers are responsible for the broader public areas. This joint effort allows for comprehensive security without making Trump feel isolated or restricted in his movements. Trump's lifestyle and unpredictable schedule add a level of complexity that most former presidents do not present, while many ex-presidents live a more settled life and various other locations. His movements are often announced at the last minute, requiring the Secret Service to mobilize quickly. One recent example of this challenge came during an unscheduled golf game in Florida. Reports indicated that a gunman managed to hide in the bushes for nearly 12 hours before Trump's appearance. Although the Secret Service was able to act swiftly, the incident raised questions about how the gunman knew Trump would be at the golf course. This incident led to a thorough investigation, with an increased focus on maintaining Trump's privacy and tightening communication security to prevent leaks. Because of these uncertainties, Trump's security detail is constantly on high alert, prepared to adjust at a moment's notice. In addition to routine procedures, they frequently reassess each location, considering factors like visibility, public access, and possible escape routes. These measures are crucial for keeping Trump safe, given his high-profile lifestyle and the persistent threats against him. With additional funding in place and new tactics being employed, the Secret Service has committed to providing Trump with a level of security that rivals what he received during his presidency. Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe has confirmed that the agency is prepared to maintain the highest level of protection around Trump as long as needed. This approach is essential given the current political climate and the ongoing threats to Trump's safety. It's clear that the Secret Service is taking no chances, ensuring Trump's protection detail is as thorough and responsive as possible. Whether this level of security will continue indefinitely remains uncertain, but for now, Trump's security setup resembles that of a sitting president. Protecting a former president like Trump is no easy feat, especially with the intense political attention and high-profile lifestyle he maintains. The Secret Service has had to adapt quickly, deploying more resources and taking on new responsibilities. It's a costly endeavor that stretches the agency's resources, but for Trump's security detail, it's all part of the job. New security requests. In recent months, Donald Trump's campaign has made some unusual requests for additional security as he hit the road for the 2024 presidential election. Feeling that traditional Secret Service protection may not be enough to handle the growing threats, Trump's team is pushing for military-style security, a step that's typically reserved for active presidents or certain high-ranking officials. From armored vehicles to military-grade aircraft, Trump wants all the bells and whistles of a secure fortress as he rallies across the country. But this isn't just a case of Trump wanting a fancy entourage. His campaign is citing specific safety concerns, particularly threats from foreign actors, especially Iran. With tensions between the US and Iran still simmering, Trump's team believes that Iranian agents or sympathizers may see his rallies as an opportunity. Trump has long been a target in the eyes of Tehran due to his administration's maximum pressure strategy, which included sanctions and the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, a revered figure in Iran. These moves left a lasting impact on Iranian leadership, and some in Trump's circle feel that Tehran might seek retaliation if the chance arises. One of the big-ticket items Trump's campaign is pushing for is military aircraft for transportation. Typically, former presidents are granted Secret Service protection and access to commercial flights or private planes for campaign stops. However, Trump is reportedly asking for the kind of aircraft used to transport active presidents or high-level government officials. These planes are equipped with advanced communication systems, missile defense technology, and other security measures that are leagues beyond what commercial or private planes offer. Trump's team argues that his safety requires this level of protection, especially given his status as a high-profile target with a history of controversial policies towards certain nations. The call for armored vehicles is another substantial part of Trump's new security requests. While Trump currently receives a standard level of protection from Secret Service agents and armored SUVs, he's reportedly seeking access to military-grade armored vehicles that are usually reserved for high-threat zones. Think tanks on wheels, massive, heavily armored vehicles that can withstand blasts and gunfire far beyond what most armored SUVs can handle. The reasoning here is simple. If Trump is moving through areas with potential threats, his campaign wants to make sure he's riding in a fortress, not just a reinforced vehicle. These requests have raised eyebrows within the security community. Some experts argue that this type of military-grade security for a civilian candidate is overkill. Former presidents do receive elevated protection, but Trump's new requests push the boundaries of what's typically provided. Former Secret Service agents and security experts note that while every president has received threats, rarely do former presidents request resources beyond what the Secret Service already provides. Yet Trump's team insists that the unique circumstances, namely the combination of international threats and the current current political climate justify the added security. Of course, this all comes with a price tag. The Secret Service is well funded, but providing military equipment and resources for a civilian campaign could mean significant additional expenses. The cost of military-grade aircraft, armored vehicles, and heightened protection detail can run into the millions. This is taxpayer money we're talking about, so naturally there's been some public debate. Some critics argue that Trump's campaign should bear some of these costs if the demands go beyond standard Secret Service protocol. Others feel that as a former president, he's entitled to extra protection given the unusual threat landscape. And then there's the question of precedent. If Trump's requests are granted, it could set a new standard for security arrangements for future former presidents who decide to run for office again. Imagine every future candidate asking for the same level of military-grade security. It's easy to see how this could escalate, with future candidates wanting similar treatment, driving up costs and potentially stretching security resources thin. Trump's team has argued that these demands are not about luxury or ego, but are purely out of necessity. They cite specific threats, pointing to online chatter and intelligence that supposedly indicates elevated risk. Some of this information remains classified, so it's difficult to gauge the exact severity of these threats. However, the campaign maintains that these risks are credible, and that the usual protection just doesn't cut it, given the current environment. In some ways, these requests align with Trump's long-standing personality and approach. He's always been one to favor bold moves, and the added layer of protection would certainly add to his image as a tough, take-no-risks candidate who stands firm against both domestic and international threats. It also plays well with his base, who view him as a strong leader facing unprecedented opposition. But for critics, the demands come off as an unnecessary show of strength, or even an attempt to command a sort of presidential aura despite being out of office. The Secret Service has not officially responded to these requests yet, but internally they may face a difficult decision. On one hand, they have a duty to protect former presidents and respond to credible threats. On the other hand, granting these specific requests could mean allocating resources and setting a new norm that complicates future security protocols. If Trump's demands are met, it could lead to further requests from other political figures or future ex-presidents, potentially complicating an already strained system. All this is happening against the backdrop of Trump's legal battles, adding yet another layer of complexity. Some speculate that the added security requests might also serve a dual purpose of making Trump's movements more controlled and private, as his legal issues require him to balance court appearances and campaign events. The campaign has, of course, avoided linking the two issues directly, but some observers note that the timing of these requests aligns closely with Trump's intensified legal schedule. Interestingly, Trump's security demands have stirred up some humor online, with people joking that he's preparing for a campaign in a war zone or running a rally like a battlefield operation. Memes and jokes have popped up comparing Trump's convoy to an action movie scene, and some are quick to point out that no previous campaign has ever been equipped like this. While it's all in good fun, the jokes do point to a larger question. Does Trump really need this kind of high-level protection, or is this just Trump being Trump? With Trump's recent victory over Kamala Harris, his security detail is bound to become even more elaborate. Now, as the incoming president, Trump's requests for heightened military-grade protection may become the new standard, blurring the lines between campaign security and presidential power. All eyes will be on him not just for the policies he'll push forward, but also for the unprecedented level of security he's set to command. America is about to see a presidency that's protected like never before. With a family fortune that rivals the GDP of small nations, the luxurious lifestyle of America's former first son, Barron Trump, is a dazzling display of opulence, extravagance, and unimaginable wealth. From rides in private jets to luxurious mansions and exclusive access to the world's most elite events, Barron's life is a never-ending spectacle of grandeur and excess. Join us as we take a look into the astonishing world of Barron Trump, where even the wildest dreams are just another day in the life of the young Trump heir. Luxurious lifestyle of Barron Trump. Born on March 20th, 2006 in New York City, Barron's life was a fairy tale come true, with half-siblings ages ahead of him, ranging from 13 to 28 years. Barron was the baby prince of the family and was effectively raised as an only child. Donald Trump, Barron's father, who has a net worth of $7.5 billion, is a well-known real estate mogul and television personality who gained fame through his business ventures and his reality TV show, The Apprentice. His mum, Melania Trump, was also a stunning model turned first lady. Together, they gave Barron a life of unapologetic extravagance. Growing up in the heart of Manhattan, Barron's early years were spent in the luxurious Trump Tower. This iconic skyscraper located on Fifth Avenue served as the backdrop for Barron's childhood. Unlike most children, Barron had an entire floor of the high-rise to himself. Imagine having a whole floor of a skyscraper as your personal playground. It was a life of unchecked indulgence where every whim was catered to and every fantasy was within reach. This extravagant lifestyle allowed him to indulge in his interests and hobbies without any limitations. The Trump family's wealth and influence also provided Barron with unique experiences that most children could only dream of. He spent quality time with his father at their Mar-a-Lago residence in Palm Beach, Florida. The sprawling estate, often referred to as the Winter White House, boasts luxurious amenities, including a golf course, swimming pools, and private beaches. Barron and his father father enjoyed playing golf, dining together, and spending family time in this lavish setting. In addition to these luxuries, Baron Trump's early exposure to the media began almost immediately after his birth. In May 2006, almost 2 months after he was born, Baron made his television debut on the Oprah Winfrey Show, a moment that introduced him to the world. While on the show, Oprah's longtime friend Gayle King also conducted an exclusive interview with Donald and Melania Trump, and here the couple proudly introduced their newborn son, Baron, to the world. When asked what it was like to have a baby again after so many years, Donald Trump beamed with pride, happiness and fulfillment that Baron's arrival brought to the family. Melania Trump, equally glowing, shared her thoughts on Donald's role as a father. She revealed that Donald was great with the baby and spent time with him every morning, watching television and reading newspapers. During the interview, King was introduced to Baron, who was quite fussy at the time. Despite his fussiness, the world couldn't help but be captivated by the youngest Trump. The name Baron was also a topic of discussion. Donald revealed that it was a name he had always loved but never dared to use until now. From here on, it was obvious that Baron's early television appearance was just the beginning of his life in the spotlight. As the son of a billionaire businessman and a former supermodel, there was no escaping the attention to the opulence surrounding his life. When it comes to Baron Trump's wealth, estimates say he's sitting on a whopping $60 million fortune as of 2024. That's more cash than most people see in a lifetime. And the best part, he didn't even have to lift a finger to earn it. It's all thanks to his family's wealth and smart investments. Let's not forget to mention Baron's trust fund, which is like a treasure chest overflowing with riches. It is packed with luxurious properties like a 10,000 square foot mansion in Palm Beach, Florida, and a 30-acre estate in Bedminster, New Jersey. This mansion in Florida is located on the same estate as his father's Mar-a-Lago resort. The property is estimated to be worth around $11 million, with some media outlets placing it at a staggering $250 million. At the same time, his 30-acre estate in Bedminster is estimated to be worth around $19 million. The property includes a 7,000 square foot mansion, a golf course and a swimming pool. That's not all. Baron also owns a piece of some of the hottest tech companies around. He's got stakes in Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, Apple, Meta Platforms, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan Chase, United Health Group, Home Depot and Visa. That's like having a finger in every pie, and we mean a very lucrative pie, and with 25% of his trust fund. Invested in these stocks, Baron's wealth is set to grow faster than anyone can imagine. Talking about Baron Trump's luxurious lifestyle, even his early childhood is a tale of luxury and opulence that most can only dream of. As the youngest Trump child, his life was destined to be filled with the finest things money could buy, and his parents, Donald and Melania Trump, made sure of it. One of the most sensational gifts Baron received as a newborn was a golden baby carriage, present from none other than Ellen DeGeneres. Imagine being pushed around in a pram made of gold. This extravagant gift set the tone for Baron's early years, where luxury was the norm rather than the exception. The golden baby carriage was not just a symbol of wealth, but also a statement of the lavish lifestyle that awaited Baron. Baron's home environment was equally opulent. He spent his early years in the Trump Tower penthouse, a triplex apartment that is the epitome of luxury. Located on Fifth Avenue in New York City, the Trump Tower is an iconic building, and the penthouse is its crown jewel. Adorned with marble and gold, the penthouse is a mansion in the sky, offering breathtaking views of Central Park and the Manhattan skyline. In this lavish setting, Baron had an entire floor dedicated to him. Yes, you heard that right, an entire floor. While most children are thrilled to have their own bedroom, Baron had a nursery, living room, kitchen and quarters for his mother and nannies, all on his own floor. The nursery was designed in the Louis XIV style, complete with intricate designs and luxurious furnishings. It was a space fit for a young prince, reflecting the grandeur and elegance of the French monarchy. Melania Trump, Baron's mother, was deeply involved in creating this luxurious environment for her son. She took great pride in ensuring that Baron had the best of everything. In fact, one of the most unbelievable aspects of Baron's early life was his skincare routine. In 2013, Melania launched her own skincare line featuring a caviar-infused moisturizer called Caviar Complex C6. This was not just any moisturizer, it was a high-end product designed to provide the ultimate in skincare luxury. Melania later revealed that she applied this caviar-infused moisturizer on Baron every night from head to toe. Imagine a 7-year-old being pampered with such an extravagant skincare routine. If caviar moisturizer after your baby's bath is not the epitome of luxury, then we aren't sure what is. Baron's early childhood was a blend of opulent living and high-end pampering. And guess what? The golden baby carriage, the dedicated floor in the Trump Tower penthouse, and the caviar-infused moisturizer were just the beginning. Growing up as an heir to a fortune, Melania Trump, ever the doting mother, took a hands-on approach to Baron's early education. She believed in the importance of being present and involved in her son's upbringing. Melania often spoke about how she wanted to be a full-time mom and be there for every step of his learning journey, from ABCs to algebra. She was determined to give Baron the best start in life, and she didn't leave anything to chance. So she homeschooled him herself and taught him all the essentials: languages, Czech, Slovenian, French, and probably a few more we don't know about. Life skills? You bet. Baron grew up speaking Slovenian thanks to lessons from his mother and grandparents. According to Melania, he grew up enjoying Slovenian food and loved eating the Slovenian food his late grandma, Amalia Knavs, made. He also learned French, showcasing his linguistic abilities from a young age. Melania's dedication to her son's education was evident in every aspect of their daily lives. However, as Baron got older, it became inevitable for him to go to an actual school, and for his mother, she ensured that he had access to the best resources and opportunities available, which is why Baron's early education was equally impressive. Before moving to the White House, Baron attended a fancy school in New York City called Columbia Grammar and Preparatory School on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. This elite institution is known for its rigorous academic curriculum and emphasis on nurturing creativity. In his last year, he took his whole class on a field trip to Washington, D.C. Talk about a cool class outing. Imagine 80 kids, teachers, and even Secret Service agents piling onto buses and touring the nation's capital. I bet they made some unforgettable memories. Next, Baron headed to St. Andrews in Maryland, where the tuition was a whopping $50,000 a year. Yikes, that's some serious cash. But for the Trumps, this was only a small price to pay for the top-tier education Baron received. St. Andrews provided Baron with a sense of normalcy amidst the extraordinary circumstances of his life. He was able to make friends, participate in school activities, and focus on his studies, all while living in one of the most iconic residences in the world. However, after his family left the White House, he switched to Oxbridge Academy in Florida in 2021, which was a bit more affordable, but expensive nonetheless, at $38,000 a year. Now that Baron recently finished high school, it is clear that his education will continue to be a top priority for the Trump family. Also, with Oxbridge Academy's reputation of having an annual 100% college acceptance rate, with half of the graduates attending a top 100 US university or a top 50 liberal arts college, it is safe to say that getting into a prestigious college would be fairly easy for Baron. Donald Trump's election to the US presidency in 2016 brought a new level of exposure to the family. However, Baron didn't immediately move to Washington, D.C. Instead, he stayed at Trump Tower with his mother for almost the first 5 months of his father's presidency to finish his school year before they relocated in the summer of 2017. On June 11, 2017, Baron and Melania moved into the White House when he was 11 years old, marking a historic moment. Baron became the first son of a president to reside in the White House since John F. Kennedy Jr. in 1963. Moving from Trump Tower to the White House was like going from a fancy penthouse to a super fancy palace, but Baron took it all in stride like a total pro. He settled into his new environment with ease, like a kid moving into a dream bedroom, which, let's be real, it totally was. One of the most talked about aspects of Baron's life in the White House was his personalized bedroom. His bedroom was the stuff of legend. It was like a high-tech paradise designed just for Baron. Unlike any other first child, Baron had a room tailored to his tastes and needs. The room was designed with a modern aesthetic, featuring sleek furniture, state-of-the-art technology, and even a gaming setup that would make any teenager envious. This was not just a bedroom, it was a sanctuary where Baron could escape the pressures of his unique life. The White House itself is equipped with amenities that rival those of the finest resorts, and Baron had access to all of them. One of his favorite spots was the private home theater, where he could watch the latest movies in comfort and style. The theater, with its plush seating and advanced sound system, provided Baron with a cinematic experience like no other. It was a place where he could relax and enjoy some downtime away from the public eye. Another favorite spot for Baron was the swimming pool. The White House pool, a favorite of many first families, was a place where Baron could unwind and enjoy some leisure time. Whether he was swimming laps or simply lounging by the pool, it was a place where he could escape the rigors of his daily life. The pool area also provided a space for Baron to spend time with his friends and family, making it a hub of activity and relaxation. The White House bowling alley was another unique feature that provided endless entertainment for Baron and his friends. The alley, located in the basement of the White House, was a place where Baron could enjoy some friendly competition and have fun. It was a unique perk that set his life apart from that of other children his age. The bowling alley became a favorite hangout spot for Baron, where he could bond with his friends and create lasting memories. Despite the opulence and privilege that came with living in the White House, Baron's parents were determined to provide him with a sense of normalcy. Melania Trump, in particular, was very protective of her son and often spoke about the need to shield him from the negative aspects of fame. She was deeply involved in his daily life, ensuring that he had a balanced routine that included time for school, play, and family. This was why one of the most sensational aspects of Baron's life in the White House was the level of security and privacy that surrounded him. As the son of the president, Baron was always accompanied by Secret Service agents who ensured his safety at all times. This level of protection was both a necessity and a symbol of his unique status. It allowed Baron to move freely and enjoy his life without the constant worry of security threats. Interestingly, Baron continued continued enjoying the security of the US Secret Service, even after his father left the White House in 2021. Barron, who was almost 15 at the time, had the luxury of these top-notch security agents until he was 16, thanks to a federal law that states that he was entitled to such protection. His parents, on the other hand, will receive the services of these secret agents for their lifetimes. Barron Trump's fashion and public opinion. Now, moving away from the fancy schools and houses Barron Trump has lived in, this billionaire heir is also a force to be reckoned with when it comes to fashion. Barron Trump's fashion sense is legendary. From the moment he stepped into the spotlight, people couldn't stop talking about his stylish outfits. And let's be real, it's no surprise. With a former supermodel like Melania Trump as his mom, Barron was destined to be a fashion icon. Melania's got an eye for style that's sharper than a razor, and she's made sure her son is always dressed to impress. Barron's fashion journey began at a young age. One of his earliest public appearances was at his father's presidential inauguration in January 2017. At just 10 years old, Barron made a striking impression in a navy blue suit, complete with a white button-down shirt and a navy blue silk tie. His perfectly coiffed hair and polished look set the tone for his future fashion choices, showcasing his preference for formal attire. Throughout his father's presidency, Barron was often seen at formal events, consistently dressed in high-quality outfits that reflected his family's luxurious lifestyle. Whether attending state dinners or accompanying his parents on official trips, Barron's wardrobe choices always exude sophistication. His preference for classic, timeless pieces such as tailored suits and crisp dress shirts further highlighted his mature sense of style. Another notable outfit of Barron's is the $10,000 black suit he wore to the White House state dinner in honor of French President Emmanuel Macron in 2018. Barron's wardrobe is obviously a mix of high-end and affordable brands, and he has often been reported to wear suits and ties by designers like Ralph Lauren and Brooks Brothers. However, Barron's fashion sense isn't limited to formal wear. He has also been spotted in more casual outfits that still manage to make a statement. During family vacations and more relaxed public appearances, Barron has been seen wearing cotton t-shirts, shorts and comfortable sneakers. Despite the casual nature of these outfits, they are always carefully selected to reflect his unique style. One memorable casual look was during a family vacation in 2019. The Trumps were returning from the Trump-owned Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, and Barron stepped off Air Force One wearing khaki pants, a white polo, a bright red jacket, and beige New Balance shoes. His puffy red coat stood out against his parents' more neutral tones, proving that Barron isn't afraid to experiment with his wardrobe and add a pop of color. Barron's fashion evolution has also been influenced by his family's lifestyle. Growing up in the public eye, Barron has been exposed to high fashion from a young age. His mother, Melania, has always ensured that he is dressed in designer clothes, often matching her elegant style. This influence is evident in Barron's preference for high-quality, well-tailored pieces that reflect his family's status and wealth. As Barron has grown older, his fashion choices have continued to evolve. In August 2020, at 14 years old, Barron impressed onlookers with a 1950s retro-inspired outfit. Stepping off Air Force One, Barron looked like a fashion model in a red, white and blue-trimmed bomber jacket by the high-end brand Moncler, paired with black jeans and black leather shoes. This stylish ensemble showcased Barron's ability to accessorize and make a statement with his clothing. Talking about accessories, Barron Trump has a thing for fancy watches. He's been spotted wearing some serious bling like a Rolex Submariner. Talk about a fancy timepiece. This watch doesn't come cheap, with prices starting at a whopping $10,000. But hey, when you're a Trump, you've got to keep up appearances, right? He's also been seen sporting an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, which is basically a superhero for your wrist. This watch is sleek and sporty and comes with a hefty price tag. We're talking $20,000 and above. And if that's not enough, he's also worn a Patek Philippe Nautilus, a watch whose price starts at $30,000, with prices varying significantly based on the model. With his impressive wardrobe, speculations about Barron's potential future in the fashion industry are not unfounded. With his height, good looks and family connections, Barron has all the makings of a future fashion icon. Only time will tell, however, if he chooses to follow in his mother's footsteps and pursue a career in fashion. But for now, Barron Trump continues to impress with his impeccable style and remains a low-key teen who enjoys the finer things in life. Barron Trump's public appearances have always been a subject of great interest and fascination. As the youngest son of a former president, his presence at various events often captures the media's attention and sparks public curiosity. One of his most recent and notable appearances was during Easter 2024 at the Mar-a-Lago Club, a luxurious resort owned by his father, Donald Trump. This event, like many others, showcased the opulent lifestyle that Barron leads and highlighted the public's ongoing interest in him. Aside from this, the event not only highlighted the luxurious lifestyle he leads, but also offered a rare glimpse into his interactions within high society. These moments continue to fascinate and intrigue the public, showcasing the unique blend of privilege and normalcy that defines Barron's life. The Easter dinner at Mar-a-Lago was a grand affair attended by high-profile guests and members of the Trump family. Barron, standing tall and strikingly similar to his father, was a standout figure at the event. His height, which has been a topic of discussion in the media, adds to his commanding presence and makes him easily recognizable in any crowd. Dressed in an impeccably tailored black suit and a yellow tie, high, Barron exuded sophistication and elegance, reflecting the high standards of the Trump family. Mar-a-Lago, known for its lavish settings and exclusive membership, provided a fitting backdrop for the Easter celebration. The resort, with its sprawling grounds, luxurious amenities and opulent decor, is a symbol of the Trump family's wealth and status. Barron's presence at such an event highlights his place within the elite circles of society and the luxurious lifestyle he leads. The media coverage of the event was extensive, with numerous outlets capturing images and videos of Barron and his family enjoying the festivities. In fact, various videos and photos showed Barron at different points of the Easter celebration, and on all occasions he was seen standing close to his father and mother. Also, in one video, he is seen seated next to his mother and with some guests while he appears to be waiting for the food to be served. Trump could also be seen standing near him talking with some guests. However, this Easter appearance was not an isolated event, as Barron has made several notable public appearances over the years, each reflecting different aspects of his life and personality. These appearances were significant as they introduced Barron to the national stage and highlighted his role within the Trump family. In addition to the lavish parties and behind the impeccable suit, Barron Trump is a lover of sports, especially soccer. From being a fan of Arsenal Football Club, as he was spotted wearing an Arsenal shirt in the White House garden back in 2017, Barron went on to play for DC United's under-12 team and Arlington Soccer Association's under-14 team. Meanwhile, his dad, Donald Trump, has made some notable moves to support Barron's budding soccer career. He has been reported to have sung Barron's praises to the president of FIFA and even introduced him to soccer stars. With this, it is clear that Trump is a proud dad and wants to help Barron succeed in the sport he loves. Well, I guess when you are Barron Trump, son of the US president, loving soccer means dear old dad gifting you with FIFA World Cup souvenirs direct from Vladimir Putin, organizing hangouts with famous players like Wayne Rooney, and giving shout-outs to your sports career at press conferences. All of these special perks and rare public appearances have put Barron under public scrutiny. As Barron Trump grew older, his transition into adulthood became a focal point for the media and the public. In fact, turning 18 in March 2024 marked a significant milestone, not just for Barron, but also for the way he was perceived by the world. The youngest Trump was no longer just a child in the shadow of his famous parents. He was stepping into his own spotlight. A former NBC executive has also recently suggested that Barron, now an adult, was no longer off limits to public criticism. This statement opened the floodgates for online commentary, with many asserting that Barron was now fair game for critique and, of course, ridicule. One of the most notable developments following Barron's 18th birthday was his announcement as a Florida delegate to the Republican National Convention. This move thrust him further into the political arena, a space dominated by his father. Despite the increased scrutiny, Barron appeared relatively unbothered by the attention as he seemed ready to carve out his own space in the political arena. The former president also once mentioned that Barron does like politics and often gives his father advice. This interest in politics could hint at a future role in the political landscape, following in his father's footsteps. However, in a surprising turn of events, Barron declined the opportunity to support his father in his campaign for the Republican presidential nomination as a delegate due to prior commitments. This unexpected withdrawal came just before Barron graduated from Oxbridge Academy in West Palm Beach, Florida. As Barron steps into adulthood, the luxurious lifestyle he has grown accustomed to will undoubtedly continue. From designer clothes to lavish estates, his life is proof of the wealth and privilege of the Trump family. But with this luxury comes the inevitable public scrutiny, which has only intensified now that he is an adult. What do you think about Barron Trump and his luxurious lifestyle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. For more interesting videos like this one, click on one of the cards currently showing on your screen.